All right, so as you can tell by this image, this is something to do with Invincible. And I guess everyone likes to think when they're young that they're invincible and that they know what the world is. But that's never really the truth, now is it? I'm just about to yawn. I'm catching up on this because the season 3 and season 4 were not available in Canada until recently. Or maybe I just didn't know and didn't care. What came to mind is that while I'm watching season 3, episode 2, and there's this fight between two female characters about who's been through more suffering, and I thought that was hilarious. I thought it was absolutely hysterical. But the first thing that comes to mind by this episode is when you play games with trust and loyalty, you end up with no one that trusts you and no one that is loyal to you. And there's more than one organization, and quite frankly, this tends to be a vice, quite frankly, of hierarchical or authoritarian in structure organizations. So this means particularly military doctrine, in which the onus of responsibility and privilege of being the best of the very best, and you're motivated by altruistic influences, say patriotism or the prestige. And that can also be a situation in which attracts those whom only seek status. Right, that's to me, and by a logical deduction, the same conclusion of other people through all mankind. And our creative works. And what I'm getting at this is that, okay, so the fight between the two female characters is like, what I've been through to be here. Do you know what I've had to do to get this position? And that's the ego talking. That's the ego, right? In which the privilege outweighs the position or the clout factor surrounding the status symbol of being that individual. And this is a great psychological mind fuck, quite frankly. And again, this is a vice in which an individual that happens to have the reins of an organization then manipulates those motivations and influences the person to be their weapon, right? Their tool. And this is the difference between creativity and or a conscientiousness and openness, as Dr. Peterson puts it, in which one overtakes the other and overshadows the other, and that in which becomes predictable and, quite frankly, toxic. So I'm going to use a personal example here. I had to put some distance between me and someone who I thought was a very good friend. But then I could hear their voice in my head, and their influence was so great because I thought they were just being nice to me when no one else would be nice to me, that my worldview soured in my efforts to also keep him from doing something radical or extreme. And when it comes to soft uh, soft conduct, I'm not going to call it an operation because it's not like I'm a doctor or anything. Um, but when it comes to dealing with other people, and then they're consistently giving you the carrot and then giving you the backhand, like right after, they're screwing with you, screwing with your head, trying to keep you on your toes in order for you to continuously question yourself and to inspire, if not encourage, paranoia. And that's another scenario that happens in this episode, in which the fear of these superheroes, because they see Mark here, invincible, be subdued for the fact that he believes Cecil to be, or the people around him believe Cecil to be a monster, but Cecil has to deal with far greater consequences than that of just having um, the life crisis moment of self-actualization, in which the superhero individual of Invincible comes to terms with the fact that he will have to kill people at some point, that he will have to eliminate someone, and he might have to eliminate someone for which he thought was his friend or his ally. And this is of course the basis of betrayal, and it's a great um, thematic narrative amongst literature and in stage plays or other literary works, or even the visual arts, that which inspires people to think about their own relationships. Again, you check up on someone and then you figure out that some people just don't change. And this is the dichotomy between Mark, who believes that people don't change, and Cecil, who had to make the choice between letting someone rot in jail or utilizing them and letting them make their own choices. And whereas Cecil, and again, the beginning of this episode, his superior says, yes, they were bad people, but it's a shame to waste a life. And this utilitarian approach to a person's life, which can also indicate a great detachment or an insensitivity or a callousness towards an individual's feelings. But again, the individual is also the ego or the egotistical. Um, and again, there's other themes or the other aspects of this internal conflict um, playing out on screen, in which Immortal calls them children, immature children, because they listen to the paranoia and not to reason. And this is the problem, right? It's this that again, some people won't ever change, and that's why they remain in the places, in the positions that they're in. um, because of real and non-negotiable factors of life, if we're going to make this more realistic, which are intelligence, emotional um, depth, and then mental illnesses or a history of drug abuse, because we underestimate the influences and in the permanent side effects, or the permanent affects of substance abuse. And that's really tragic. There's some things that which we don't come back from. And that's what is really interesting about Invincible to me. And I just wanted to put this into a short video, and again, say maybe using a couple instructional techniques, um, because I like it. I like that this cartoon, this is so not provocative, but is so um, I'm just searching for the word. It's so nuanced, right? It's like an onion with so many layers, and it's also a part of the hero's journey, right? And then I was reading something about Project Hail Mary earlier today, in which the reluctance to accept one's destiny, so to speak, or to reconcile with the Deus ex machina, so God in the machine, in which we are all a part of. Is to recognize our place in the world, but also to recognize when someone is wrong, and then you have to stand up to them and bringing them face to face with the consequences of their decisions. And if they cannot um, be reasonable, then they have to be dealt with. And I know that's really vague, but you got to cut people out. Yeah. There's some people in your life that you have to cut them out. So if this is a vlog about that instead of Invincible, that's what it is. But I just like this episode a lot. And again, if I'm going to reiterate this, when you play with trust and you play with loyalty of a person, then you end up with no trust and no loyalty. And again, that's a great fault of military doctrine or culture. And I'll end this on one note. Again, when you can't, when the only thing left are the only things left are the questions and the paranoia, right? And then we turn on each other and we turn on ourselves. And I love Kurt Vonnegut, and one of his best quotes is military intelligence is an oxymoron. We'll just end it right there.